Hello, my name is Darren Thomas. I'm the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to continue looking at functions, but we're going to look at two new things in this video. We're going to, number one, look at how to set a default value for an argument. And number two, we're going to learn how to use the ... argument when you're making a function as well, which allows you to insert multiple arguments into the code without having to label them specifically. And so as you can see, I'm already inside RStudio. And just as a brief review, this is what we've been learning so far in terms of how to use functions. So we have here a function called times dollar, and you use the function. Inside the function, we have two arguments, x and multiply. Inside the actual function, in other words, this is the code where you do something lines 2 and 3, we create an object called number and we multiply x times whatever we set for multiply. And then we paste it together, the results from number, and then we put the word dollar after it and we separate it by a space. That's what we've done so far. Now in this video, like I told you, we're going to learn two things. We're going to learn how to set a default value as well as how to use the ... command or the ... argument to bring in many other arguments. So I'm going to create an object called times many, and of course it's going to be a function. So I use the function command, if you will, and I'm going to set it to have an x and a y. Now, what we're going to do that's unique this time is that we're going to set a default value for y. And what that means is that if I don't tell R what value y is, R will automatically use whatever value that I give it. So for the sake of simplicity, we'll make it 2.1. Excuse me, let me put an equal sign there, 2.1. So that's how we're going to do that. And so now we're going to set up our curly braces, press enter, and we're going to set up the information inside our function. So we're going to create an object called number. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to do x times y, but we're going to square y just to have some fun here and make it interesting. And then what we would like to do after that is we want to return the value for number. That's what we're going to do. So I do all that, and I think we're ready. Okay, so what we do now is we need to review what we did. So inside this function times many, we're going to take x, whatever value we set for x, times y squared, and we're going to return the number. So first time, we're going to set a value for both arguments. This is the traditional way that you do it, as you should be familiar with. So for x, I'm going to put 2, and for y, I'm going to put 3. Let's see what we get. We get 18. We know the function works. Why? Because 3 squared is 9, because we set y to 3. So 3 squared is 9, and we set x to 2. 9 times 2 is 18. Now, this time, I'm only going to put a value for x. I will not put a value for y. And what R will do is that it will use the default value of 2.1. Now, please watch carefully. So, to keep it as simple as possible, we're just going to put x to 1. And what's going to happen is that we're going to get 2.1 squared, and that'll be the answer. And you can see right there, 4.41. If you don't believe me, we'll do 2.1 times 2.1. And you can see 4.41. Now, why did R give us 4.41? Because the default value for y is 2.1. If I don't tell R what value I want for my second argument right here, it'll automatically use this 2.1. That's the beauty of having a default value for a command. This is very, very useful if you want to make some code and you don't want to have to define everything every single time. It can really help people out a lot. Now, the second thing that we're going to learn in this particular video is the beauty of the ... argument. What the ... argument allows you to do is it allows you to include additional arguments without having to specify them by name. And so to do that, you of course have to set a comma to separate all your arguments, and you put ... Now remember the rule. Whenever you put an argument inside the function, you also have to include it inside the curly braces. So I need to modify my code in line 2 to include this. So we're going to use the round function. And what the round function does is it rounds numbers. And we're going to put a comma here, and we're going to put the ... like so. Just like this. And now we're going to press Control-Shift-Enter. And now here's what's going to happen. We're going to take our times many command, like our function like last time. We're going to set x to 2, We're going to set y to 3, and we're going to use an argument called digits. And we're going to set digits to, let's just set digits to 2 for now. And I need to change this here if you don't mind, 2.32, 2.31, or 3.31. And now the digits argument comes from the round function that we included right here in line 2 of our code, if you notice closely. And so now I press enter and I get 25.42. Now notice how I have 2 digits after the decimal. That's because I set my digit value to 2. If I rerun this code and set it to 1, you can see now I get 25.41. You can see each time it changes based on how many digits I want. If I set it to 4, I get 4 numbers. If I set it to 5, I get 5 numbers. I can set it to 15. Oh, I guess it stops at 5. But you get the point. And that's the beauty of being able to use the ... argument, is that you're able to include arguments inside your code without having to name them specifically. And it's another shortcut for efficient coding. So in this video today, we learned about how to set a default value for an argument. Basically, all you do is you go inside the function and you pick whatever argument you want and you set the default value as so. The second thing, the main benefit of this is that in case you don't tell R what value that argument should have, it already has a value in mind that it can use. The second thing that we learned today was we also learned about the ... argument, which is very useful to include arguments that you would like to use without having to name them specifically inside the function. And so we learned how to do that. You must, of course, find whatever function it is, and then, of course, include the ... there, and you will have access to arguments from different functions based on what you need to do. And so that's the beauty of this. So we thank you for listening today. We hope that this was useful, and we look forward to seeing you in future videos. Take care.